The box in homeLA recognizes and acknowledges Yafitum, the first people of this ancestral and unceded territory for the Tmanga Cache village of Yangva, known now as downtown Los Angeles. The greater Tmanga region, which contains much of the current city of LA, contains hundreds of independent Tongva villages called Tmangar, or the first people of this land. We pay our deepest respects to their elders, past, present, and future. We deeply consider the land and water we live upon and the many legacies of once vibrant communities stripped of their freedoms and cultural traditions. Today, they call themselves Gabrieliano, Tmanga, Fediano, Tvangitam, and Ventiano, Kumash. We recognize the Yafitum are still here, and we are committed to lifting up their dance, stories, cultures, and lifeways, and honoring their land, ocean, and sacred spaces.
Okay, so with our first part of the program, we will be having a performance with the LA Poverty Department. So welcome. Take it away, guys.
Okay, so this is a performance called The New Compassion. It's an excerpt from a bigger performance called The New Compassionate Downtown. And it's about Skid Row as a place that other people can learn from. And it imagines downtown LA being marketed not as a place to go crazy, and get party and 24-hour entertainment, but as a place where you can participate in the compassionate practices that have been developed and sustained in the Skid Row community, which also, first of all, is a community, and secondly, has been under the threat of displacement for at least 50 years. And so it's only through the efforts of the people living and working in Skid Row that it hasn't been developed and all those people pushed out. So this is why this performance is about imagining that, in fact, the general populace wanted to not only sustain the Skid Row and support it and listen to the people that live there and the community that's there and learn from them. Okay.
Welcome to the We in Empathy. Are you looking for a place to move? Consider Downtown L.A. Downtown Skid Row is a neighborhood that's a resource for the entire region. It is a community that has taken on the most difficult problems, and it has done so most joyously. You will become part of the community. You will learn from community practices, and you will work to release them. Now, it's a recovery neighborhood. So second chances and meaningful relationships, they don't come from hanging out at bars. It's a neighborhood of second chances. You will develop meaningful relationships with all of your neighbors. You will become involved with the social services and the grassroots activities. Not only will you enjoy your new living space, but you will do so knowing that downtown LA has inclusive zoning and it welcomes residents at all income levels. This is the place that you will have the satisfaction of knowing that any and all development in the area will generate funds to subsidize low-income housing in Skid Row. Here is a place where you can live the guilt and resentment-free. No longer will the substaneous guilt of ignoring privilege haunt you and through psychological displacement manifest itself as anger. No, this is where you will be living the guilt and resentment-free lifestyle that you wish to see, that you wish to be. You will be a beacon to our entire community in which suppressed guilt and, well, you name it. It could be global inequality. It could be native obliteration of Native Americans. It could be the obliteration of slavery. All of these and global warming has perpetuated hostility. And now, follow me because we are going to swoop into the kind of meeting that you can expect in the new compassionate downtown.
Welcome, welcome. We were just sharing how we got here. What brought us to downtown?
Yes, lead. When I was a crackhead, I used to go in and out and in and out and in and out of prison. This one day I did. And I was standing outside the prison at the bus stop waiting on the bus that would take me in the bus stop that would take me to L.A. And this counselor, the bus didn't come. So this counselor happened to be coming out of the prison, going home, and he drove over there and asked us what we're doing there. It was 3 of us. And we were like, the bus didn't come. So he said, come on, jump in the car. I'll give y'all a ride to the bus stop that'll take y'all to the Greyhound bus station. And so we jumped in the car, and he started asking everybody, what were we going to do when we get out of prison? And everybody else, they started explaining to him how he was going to stay out of jail, quit smoking crack, and stop doing crime. But me, I didn't know what the hell I was going to do. My plan was to go home and start spending my money on crack. So when we got down to L.A., at the bus station over there on 7th and Alameda, I got off the bus and walked out into the parking lot and was immediately met by a dealer that assured me that he got what I need. Me, I surprised the hell out of myself when I told him, not interested. I kept on being not interested, and I kept on walking. And I ain't never smoked no crack before in my life. Thank you.
Wow. It's okay to be out. I don't know what to do.
Oh, godly. Hey, fellas, how you doing, dog? Here, you got your gate money? Shoes. I do a James Brown dance that will knock your socks off. You just give me $2 of your gate money or a couple of them damn cigarettes.
Man, you got gate money. Why you trying to hustle me when you gonna buy your own damn cigarettes?
Shit, I ain't trying to hustle you. I'm trying to go into L.A. and do the James Brown dance all day and all night.
Look, man, I just did 6 years. I ain't trying to be around nobody crazy or doing the wrong thing. What about you?
Oh, man, I just want some cavi.
This ain't all, man. What you gonna do with some cabbage?
Smoke it. Anyway, damn, you made me forget. Oh, yeah, I was just, wow, look at that. What's up, man?
I got everything that you need. I got a new chair they call Crystal Man. Mr. Bomb, you want some? Come on, come in.
I just need a room.
No, Chico, no. I don't have any room. No rooms, but I got everything else that you need.
I thought I want something, but I don't. Not interested.
What do you say? Slow down, man. Garbel up, garbel yourself, and tell me what you want.
I don't want nothing. Not interested.
I'm going to blow your mind.
Not interested. Not interested. Not. Bye-bye. I'm out of here.
Don't you ask him to speak.
Hey, check it out. Look, man, look, they got this place down on 6th and San Pedro called the Wine Guard. Man, it's only $17 a night, man. Look, they got the down up in there. You know, we can go over there and, look out for each other. And, stay all the way up in the next week, then go to Christmas and, find us a job.
Gee, don't you know that the wine garden people at the wine garden throw other people out the window at the wine garden?
Man, that shit ain't got nothing to do with us. Man, we just need us a place to stay. That shit ain't got nothing to do with us.
Well, I guess you talked me into it. You done got your head on straight.
Yeah, we gonna do that.
We're gonna do that shit.
Let's do this.
Let's do it.
Well, hello. I'm Josephine. Welcome to the Wine Garden.
See that woman over there?
Oh, yeah, look at there.
We got, this is the homeless shelter, and we got plenty room on the 4th floor. You gotta take your money, put it in a safe deposit box, and give you a receipt. So come on in.
Yeah.
Okay, you gotta come in at 6, and you gotta leave out of here at 6 a.m. These are the rules and regulations, and I just work here.
What am I gonna do at 6 o'clock in the morning?
I don't know what you gonna do, sir, at 6 o'clock in the morning, but I know you can't stay here at the wine guard after 6.
Well, then what the hell am I gonna do? Go lay an egg?
Excuse me? We don't accept that kind of rudeness. Okay, now either you want a room on the 4th floor in the wine guard, or you want to stay outside in the shivering cold.
I think you talked me into it. We're gonna take that.
All right, now what you do, give me all your money, all your change, leave it at the front desk, we'll sign you in, and you will be sharing rooms. There is no single room occupancy, so you will be sharing rooms, and y'all need to know that right now.
What am I gonna do?
If you hear anybody snoring, what you do is get some toilet paper, stick it in your ears, and then you won't have to hear them.
Put some damn toilet paper in their nose and then they won't be snoring.
That'll work, whatever, whichever way you want to do that. But there's something I need to tell you. There is no intercourse, there is no talking after 10 o'clock. Everyone should be sleeping.
No intercourse.
No intercourse after 10 o'clock. Is that what you said?
I'm gonna say it again. There is no intercourse at all. We all should be sleeping. Okay, so now if you have to go to the bathroom or anything like that, you need to go before 10 o'clock or we're gonna put you out.
What am I gonna do if I have to use the bathroom in the middle of the night, ma'am?
Well, what you do is you let the security guard know. He'll escort you there, and you need to urinate as much as you possibly can. And then maybe you won't have a problem, okay?
Oh, well, I guess we'll take it.
We'll take it. Come on.
All right.
People coming out of prison, they're given $200. And that's it. That's all. And what they really need is housing. But they don't provide that. No. So where do they go? They go right here to Skid Row. And they meet that unsung woman, that hero at the wine garden. And she navigates the system so that they can get a room. Skid Row is the only place that they can go. This is the new compassionate downtown.
And so we have some cookies and punch, and we have some other speakers coming up. And our next speaker is, they're around the corner having a smoke. Okay, it's not a problem. We can play some music for a minute. They're homeless. They've experienced homelessness. They've got an apartment now. So, okay, help me out here. We'll give ourselves a musical interlude, and that's a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Humility, 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 humility.
Okay, that's your bass line. Just keep it going in the back of your head.
Humility, humility, humility.
Okay, just keep it going.
You're walking down the street, saying hello to the people you meet. Some have makeup, some have smiles, some look through you like you're not even real.
Humility, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1.
You wake up in the morning, you look in the mirror, your eyes rise and you meet yourself.
Humility, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
You do or you don't like what you see. Humility or shame, that's the name of the game. You look to the sky and you rise up.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4.
And you see the clouds moving by, and you rise, you rise, you rise. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And you say to yourself, what a wonderful world. What a wonderful world.
Oh, thank you. That was, well, thank you, Louis Armstrong. That was a wonderful world. Yeah, that was beautiful. In one word?
Refreshing.
Absolutely. And we are so excited this evening to have with us Joan Soteros, the now retired director of the St. Vincent de Paul shelter on Winston Street. On the street, it's called the Misery House, but people say that with love. Its real name, Miserere. It's Latin for mercy.
You could come inside. We have an extra bed upstairs. You don't have to be out here in the cold.
No thanks, ma'am. I'd rather stay here.
But why? It's wet and cold out here.
I don't mind the cold, ma'am. I'm used to it.
Wouldn't you rather be inside?
No, I'm good.
Wait a minute. If you could ask for anything you want, what would you want?
I'm not gonna tell you, because you wouldn't understand. I haven't met anyone who's ever taken the time to understand. Just leave me alone. I'm happy not to think about it. Thinking of the good brings out the bad. I feel your mercy. And if I let it in, I'll cry all night long, and all the next day, and all the next night. Wash all the misery out of my body.
All that abuse, the misunderstanding.
I was once a happy kid and dreamed big. I could never go back to that time. It's been covered up in so many layers of, well, I call it misery. I have a cry. You have to take my hand and treat me as your child, your son, and love me even more.
Then you will be food and mercy, and then you'll be able to walk freely.
You know, and a new space will open up. And maybe then I can dream again and put both feet back down on the ground and put one foot in front of the other and walk. Walk on.
Joan is famous for saying we only have one rule here at St. Finney's: respect yourself and respect others. Now, what would make that work is everyone being concerned about everyone else. What about that, Mr. Taylor?
Well, I can imagine that. I was staying at the Wine Guard temporarily, and I was getting back a little later than normal, so I knew that everyone at the place would arrive sooner. And so that meant it wouldn't be a long line at the front desk. That also meant that when I made my way up into the dorm, the lights would be out and people would be fast asleep because, well, it was after 11 p.m. I prepared to enter the room because I knew I would have to cut on the light and maybe wake someone up and make them angry, and they just might say something that I might find disrespectful. And then I would have to make a choice, whether to apologize or argue. I made a note to buy myself a flashlight in the future, so then when I make my way up into the dorm, I wouldn't cause any trouble for anyone, including myself.
Thank you, and I loved when you said I'd have to make a choice: to apologize or to argue. And that can always happen. We can always be misunderstood, and that hurt will make you angry. And being angry can and will make the situation worse.
Like whoever it was that burned down the porta potties that the mayor put out on Main Street at the beginning of COVID.
Yeah, that was some damn crazy homeless person.
No, it wasn't. It was a crazy, angry loft person.
Well, hell yeah. Them powder porters was some kind of imitation anyway. Come on down here on Main Street and pee on my doorstep.
You know what? I worked so hard to stay in this area of town, not to mention taxes and condom fees. I don't want to go home with some porta potties near at my front door. Get it? There are some less fortunate people in the area with challenges. I pay enough taxes for food banks and service. Also, I donate my time and service. Why they have to infringe on my comfort? What more can I do?
Those people up in the lofts, they always complain about us. What are we supposed to do? As far as they're concerned, we don't even exist. We have to go to the bathroom and take a shit somewhere. They say we stink, and I say, screw them.
Whatever happened to kindness?
Kindness. Did I ever tell you guys about Joe? You know, Joe who lived in the alleyway behind St. Vinny's where I work. I was trying to get Joe into housing for years. It would go something like this. Hey, Joe, how you doing today? I'm okay. Well, you know, how are your dogs? Oh, they're dogs. 2 dogs. Come on, Joe. What do you call them? Dogs. No, Joe. I mean, really, what are their names? Well, number 1, number 2. That's how it went for years. He was very unresponsive. Well, anyway, I saw Joe again the other day. Hey, Joe. Joe, it's me. How you doing?
Hey, Mr. Dwight, where you been at?
Oh, I'm still over at St. Vinny's, you know, me on the front desk. But where's your other dog?
Oh, number 1?
Yeah.
Well, he ate a rat that was poisoned, so he passed about a month ago.
Oh, man, that's sad. I'm so sorry, but, you know, number 2 here, he's not looking so good. I mean, what are you going to do about him?
Well, okay, no, number 1 was number 2.
Okay.
But then he got run over by a car. But then I had another dog, and so number 1 became number 2, and then number 3 became number 2.
I got it. They all moved up 1. I got it.
Yeah. So number one, the second one, he ate the rat and passed.
Oh, man, that's really bad. But, you know, number 2 here, he's getting really skinny, Joe. That leg is bad. I know number 1 was your first love, but what are you going to do about number 2?
Yeah, and his belly, it's like really, really swollen, and it's you know, something's wrong. It's very bad.
Yeah, you know, I went through the same type of situation last year with my Rex. He was this big dinosaur of a dog. I mean, Rex, he took such good care of me. That dog loved me. But he got hit by a car, and he was in pain, Joe. And I had to ask myself, is it better for me to let my dog live in pain, in that suffering, or would it be better if I just got him all the things he loves and put him down next to him and lay down and put him to sleep? You know, my Rex, Joe, he looked up at me with these smiling eyes. Joe, he knew what was happening.
You killed your dog?
Oh, come on. No, it wasn't like that.
No, you scare me. Stay away.
Joe, come on. I'm trying to tell you something, Joe. I haven't told anybody before. I have AIDS. And if I get sick, they're going to hook me up to a machine, Joe, because of the pain. And I told my doctors, I don't want to live in pain. I want them to euthanize me, Joe. Pain is atrocious.
Well, you've not taken care of my dog, and he's not hooked up to no machine. And well, look, he's wagging his tail.
Of course he's wagging his tail, Joe. Look at him, he loves you. But Joe, this dog is in pain. He has no teeth. He's skinny as can be, and he's whining.
Well, not all the time.
Joe, I would not want you to take care of me that way.
Well, maybe we can do something together.
Yes, we can.
Well, I could get a big plastic tub.
Yes, that sounds good.
And we could go down to the ocean.
Yes.
And we'll put my dog in the tub. And
Okay.
we'll rub him with lard.
Lard.
And then when the sun goes down,
Yeah.
we'll push him into the ocean.
You know, Joe, the Indians did that to their most sacred people, the people they loved the most. They would just put them out into this infinity of the sea, and they would just let them go into God's love.
Yeah?
Yeah, I would do that with you, Joe.
Whoa, on this block right here, they got all kinds of stores, man. Yeah, they sell candles. Well, they sell prayers.
They sell incense burners. They sell all kinds of stuff, Joe. But Joe, listen to me. You're going to be alone for the first time in your life, all by yourself. Why don't you come with me to Project Room Key? I mean, come on. I mean, it's not the grandest place in the world. I mean, there's no swimming pools. There's no mints on your pillows. But, Joe, there's a shower. There's meals. And there is a pillow on your bed and a roof over your head. What do you say?
But I like it here.
Well, so did I. But with COVID-19 and all the blame and the shame and all the drug dealing, I mean, the toy district is mixed in right down there with the smoke district. There is so much drug dealing. There is so much crime. It is not safe, Joe. Come with me.
Oh, well, you got a few bucks.
Yeah, of course. I know. I always do for you. What do you need?
I'll show you where you can get the tubs.
Okay.
And maybe we can get a big dog pinata.
A pinata?
To put in the tub, too.
Really? I mean, why don't we get him a soft, chewy bone, something he could sink his teeth on, or maybe a soft, furry animal, you know, that he could just lay his head on and just go to sleep? What do you think?
I like a big dog piñata. A big dog piñata, and putting it right up front.
Okay, then we're gonna get you a big dog piñata, and we're gonna put it right up front. Yeah, Joe, we're gonna do this, right? Come on, everybody, come do it with us. Come join. Thank you, everybody, very much. We love you. One more. Thank you. And let's end homelessness. I know we can.
All right, thank you very much, Los Angeles Poverty Department. We are now going to transition and hear from Corazon del Sol and Henriëtte. And Mara's going to say a few things.
I wanted to introduce Corazon del Sol, who is an artist I work with here at the Box, and a new friend, Henriëtte, through the Oasis project. And thank you for coming, Andre Spicer. I haven't even met you yet, but hello. So without further ado, they're going to tell us a little bit about the Jardin de Estrellas.
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you guys all for working so hard to just support for the opening of this project. I can't tell you how much it means to us. Yeah, I mean, I think we're all on the same page that we know that it's kind of criminal the way things have gone in this city with, you know, the haves and the have-nots. And there's no reason for the housing crisis that we have except for greed. And yeah, I guess the beginning of the story would be, I guess the very beginning would be growing up with a father who was homeless and the pain that that has of, you know, you never know when the phone rings if it's going to be bad news. Because we were up north and it gets really cold, and he had many friends that died of hypothermia, so I would constantly be worried about him. And I think having that so close to me, you know that it's not anybody's fault, you know, it's just the society's broken. And then fast forward to, I live in Boyle Heights, and about 4 or 5 years ago, all my neighbors started to get evicted, all my very close neighbors, who I was actually really close friends with. And one of my neighbors from across the street, because the one on the one side, his name was Ivan, and it was a single family home, so they could just evict him. But my neighbor across the street, Karen, and her daughter Brianna, both families were third generation Boyle Heights, so that was their home. But Karen got offered $40,000 to move out for her and Brianna, and she came to me asking for help to relocate, and I was like, it's not really a lot of money for the prices. They're paying $1,200 for a 2-bedroom. And then suddenly in our own neighborhood, or even anywhere in the surrounding neighborhoods, the closest I could find was about $2,000, $2,200, which wasn't even enough for more than a year with everything. So it's just, it wasn't a real option. It's basically you're putting people out on the street. And she was asking me, could you help? Is it possible with this money I could buy a house? And I was like, no, it's not actually possible. And then I started to really think, I started to look at mobile home parks and think, okay, maybe, because a mobile home is $100,000 and the quality of life isn't really nice in them, but like, why don't we create another model with modular homes, with beautiful design, with dignity for everybody, with gardens, with edible gardens, with community, with everything that we need? Is it possible? And I started to reach out, and I started to find out that it's totally possible, and the only reason it's not happening is because of greed. It's not like I'm no different than everybody else, or none of us are, we're just figuring it all out together. And then I started talking to Mike, who is a good friend of mine, about it, and he's like, he has an Oasis, and he's like, let's do it. He's like, we're gonna do it. We're just gonna figure it out. And I was like, how are we gonna do it? And he's like, I don't know, we're just gonna figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, I had bought 10 acres in Lake Los Angeles years and years ago, And I was like, we could just do it there. And then it kind of morphed from there, you know? Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say. I'm not somebody that likes to speak in front of people or say anything about what I'm doing. I just like to do it. But no, my dad was.
Your company, that what you guys are doing, that social equity.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have a cannabis company. I mean, look at me. You know. But no, my dad was living in his car for years in Oxnard. And I mean, I grew up in Alaska, and then New York, and then here. But he was housing insecure for decades, you know, in and out of rescue missions, and meeting, you know, going there and hanging out with him and meeting all the people that, you know, he was friends with and was part of his community. You know, it lasted, you know. And after I got out of the military, I started growing cannabis, and that spiraled into the company that I have now, which is legal. Let's say that, because there's a lot of, you know, companies that aren't legal, but we're legal, and we've started the Oasis project because it's the responsibility of all of us to give back, you know, not just take. That's corporatism has destroyed this country and the planet. Thanks. I don't think I'm saying anything new.
You do a social equity program for brands and with your company?
Yeah, we do. You know, a lot of people, as Prop 64 happened, there were thousands of companies and brands out there that were operating in the gray market, what Prop 215 was, and a lot of those. What the hell was that? I don't know. That was big. A lot of those companies and people kind of fell by the wayside because the cost of just the sheer cost of licensing and compliance crushed them. So I'm tenacious. I mean, I don't give up. So I made it through. And now I have a big manufacturing facility here. I have a big farm in Watsonville. I have an indoor grow here downtown. So as we succeed, you know, we try to bring people up. And part of that is a social equity partnership that we do. And that is giving a lot of those brands and those people that were left, you know, with as legalization happened, by the wayside. So I don't know what else to say. Sorry. I do things. I'm sorry.
He helps a lot of people. Very good person, and has an organization. And he was like, my nonprofit, this will be the first project that we do. Yeah. And we're gonna do it, and we're gonna figure it out. And we didn't know how we were gonna do it, honestly. I had drawings, and I'm not a good drawer of little houses, and I wanted it around a garden that's edible, so we have community, because in LA we're also isolated. And Mike just kept pushing and saying, we're gonna figure it out. And then we met ARCspace, that's Alex, who's here. And they came on board. He designed and built this whole house. He made it happen through sheer will. I can't tell you how hard it's been to get it here.
It's taken a year.
It's taken a year. And then the other step was okay, this isn't actually legal. What we're dreaming of, this solution of having these beautiful homes that are way more affordable than the options that they're giving right now. But to have them around a garden, in the neighborhoods, how are we gonna do that? And one of Mike's companies that he works with, this woman, Sheena, who does the social equity program in Compton, said, oh, I know somebody, which was Andre. Andre is a community activist for years. He changed the voting registration, he did a whole program to change the voting registration. What was it, from 4% to 20%? Amazing activist, community, and now he's gonna be our assembly person for Compton.
Thanks for that. And it's not an assembly person. First, my name is Andre Spicer. I am a community activist. I'm an entrepreneur. I have 3 different businesses: a radio station in Compton, a water store, and I also have a natural hair salon. I recently ran for city council in the city of Compton, and I lost to the incumbent by 1 vote. 2 weeks later, he went to jail for voter fraud and bribery, and so I'm expecting by the end of the year that I'll be in office to serve the city of Compton. I met Mike in Corazon. One of my platforms, so I'll tell you a little bit about my platform. One of the platforms, something in my platform was a homelessness issue. We all know there's a huge homelessness issue, not just in Compton, but in the whole LA County or across the world, really. And there is no one answer for homelessness. So I'm looking at the demographics of homelessness. We have substance abuse. We have families that have fell on hard times. We have youth that turned out of foster care that have nowhere to go. It's so many different types of homelessness. So there's no one answer. We have to develop different ways to address the homelessness issue. So when I met Mike and Corazon, they was telling me about their program. I loved what they were talking about. I loved that it was low-income housing. I immediately identified a demographic that it catered to. So I wanted to bring these ideas and things like this to my city, where we have a lot of vacant land, a lot of blight, a lot of empty lots, homelessness and substance abuse in the city. So bringing things like this to help beautify my city, to help get people off the streets and transition into other different programs and careers in their lives is something that I'm very passionate about. It's something I've been doing for the last 10 years of my life. I'm a lifelong resident in Compton. I might not look like I've been here for 39 years, but I have. And I haven't seen much of a change since a kid. You know, the same things that I grew up seeing in my neighborhood, my child sees growing up in the same neighborhood. So I'm passionate about making the change so that her child won't see the same neighborhood. So I'm honored to be a part. Thank you guys for even thinking of me. Thank you for bringing me even to this event here and putting me on the spot to talk in front of everybody. So. Guys, this is beautiful. Apparently, all you guys are passionate about doing something about homelessness, and I think together we all can do something. So thank you guys for taking the time to listen to me. Again, my name is Andre Spicer.
Thank you, guys. I just want to say so much thank you to Chloe, to Mara, to Jay, to Alex, to, I don't think the electrician is here, but Robbie, the electrician who came every day and worked for free for 1 week making this happen. I mean, the amount of people who are just working to make this dream happen, I think that's the most important thing I learned. When I started, I thought, oh, I'll go ask rich people. They didn't care. They just wanted it for themselves. Everybody was like, oh, perfect, we want that. I'm like, no, I need you to like help.
It'll be a great ADU so
Yeah.
I can have income on.
Yeah. So what I learned really quickly is this is only going to happen because we're all going to do it together. It's going to come from the ground up. We're going to convince the politicians to do it. Is the reason it's going to work and the reason other things haven't worked is because everything comes from the top down and all they care about is extracting. And if it comes from us, it's for us, by us. So
Yeah, let's be the change we want to see. Create the Oasis.
Thank you, Corazon. Such an honor to be a part of this project. Hi, everyone. My name is Jay Carlone. I'm a dancer and choreographer here in Los Angeles. And my entry point into this project is my proximity to homelessness. My oldest brother, Albert, was found dead in March around the block from here on 1st and Los Angeles. And so when they asked me to do this project, I felt like it was an opportunity for me to kind of heal from some of the pains that he went through. And as I'm here in this space, like shaking, maybe through him, I'm kind of compelled to bring us all into our bodies. So if you would like to join me, I'd like to do a few exercises with everyone. My mantra for my entire artistic, creative, and social justice practice is imagination is real. And if we want change to happen, whether it's, having a healthier body, imagining a home, a safe space, imagining safer relationships, it needs to be imagined first. So let's imagine all together right now a wedge of a lemon or a slice of a lemon. So go ahead and hold it and feel the weight of the lemon. Yeah, so really kind of imagine that it has mass, it has density. And maybe you can look at the bright yellow hue and maybe give it a smell. Maybe you give it a little squeeze and the essential oils from the rind kind of come out. You can see the white of the flesh or the pith and the pulp of the juices. Yeah, really imagine it. And using our imagination, we're going to take a bite. You could do it through your mask if you'd like. Ready? 1, 2, 3. So if you're like me, if you're like a 90s kid, you're maybe making like a Warhead face or a Sour Patch Kids face. And maybe you're beginning to salivate. And if you're beginning to salivate right now, you, using your imagination, were able to change your biological makeup. And this little anecdote for me makes me think about how, as artists, we can imagine new futures. As social justice warriors, we can imagine the world we want to live in. So how can imagination is real be a part of our daily practice? Yeah, let's just, I'm feeling anxious, so let's take a breath. So let's place our left hand on our belly and our right hand on our heart. And if you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes, but if not, you could just have a soft gaze. We're gonna go internally for a bit right now. And let's just invite the breath into our body, using the breath to ground you a bit. And imagine a smile behind your eyes. Imagine a smile on the inside of your mouth, and you can actually smile if you'd like. And maybe with your right hand, maybe you could touch your collarbone, and that's like your clavicle. And imagine that's a smile, like radiating in front of you. And all the curves in your ribs, imagine that's smiling, radiating, not just in front of you, on the outside, the side of you, behind you. Maybe imagine the seat, your sits bones, smiling at the chair beneath you, your feet smiling down at the floor beneath you, and a sense of a reciprocity that the space is smiling back at you. So the floor, the earth, smiling back. The air, the space, the walls, the heavens, the sky, the stars smiling down back at us. And let's just bring our breath all together. So exhale to begin. Send the breath into the left hand in the belly. Pause. Send the breath into the heart. Pause. Send the breath just underneath the smiles of the collarbone. Pause. Sip in a little more air. Holding here for 3, relax the face, holding here for 2, shut the teeth and go shh. Let's do that one more time. Inhale into the belly. Pause. Into the heart. Pause. Underneath the smiles of the collarbone. Pause, holding here. Try to relax everything. Sip in just a little more air. You got this. Ready? Holding here for 3, 2. Shut the teeth. Go. Shh. And you can gently flutter your eyes open. And just let your hands kind of float away from your chest and your belly. And let's imagine our hands are now antenna, like they can sense the space in front of us. And kind of like like a blind cat or a blind insect, just kind of sense the space around you. Maybe the space is above you, the space is behind you, in between you. And almost like we're painting kind of a 3-dimensional soft sculpture with our hands, like silk. Let's imagine now, I like to do this exercise where I bless my body. So I think about my hands, and I think about when I think about my hands, I think about what am I grasping for? What am I reaching for? Is my body in alignment with my purpose? And just kind of as you're painting space, sensing space, feeling space, remember that reciprocity of smiling. So as if all the curves in your hands are smiling as you're reaching. Yeah. And then let this kind of echo up into the elbows, as if your elbows are antenna. And when I think of my elbows, I think of my ability to embrace. So go ahead and give yourself a hug. If it wasn't for my elbows, I couldn't embrace, or I couldn't spread. And then as I'm thinking up my arms, I'm going into my shoulders, and I think about the baggage that I hold on to. I think about all the weight that I don't need to be holding on to. So go ahead and just brush off. You don't need to be holding on to everything all the time. Yeah. Allow yourself to let go, to release, maybe some brushes. And then the shoulders are kind of connected to the spine, and just like kind of wiggle out the spine a little bit. It's easier if you're standing, but it's okay. And I think about the spine as my support column, my support system. It supports all my organs. So how can, if I, through movement, through embodiment, have a stronger spine to have stronger relationships and stronger support systems? So this is kind of my practice, and thank you for doing that with me. This is a little bit of my practice to kind of make me feel like I have a sense of belonging here. And I think I want everyone to have a sense of belonging. And to go back to this project, to go back to my brother Albert, when I was making this work last week, I thought I was emotionally ready for it. And I don't think I was, but we still did it. Thank you, Corazon, for all your guidance, and thank you, Chloe. So I'd love to share a little preview of this film that we're making. It'll premiere at the end of the month, but here's like a 1-minute preview. So if we can cue the projector, I'd love to share the project with you. And this is called Grief in Liminal Spaces.
Hi, my name is Bernard Brown. I'm an artist, I'm an educator, and I'm an arts advocate, arts activist, an instigator on some levels. Hi, Jay. Hi, Corazon. I've yet to meet you, Pastor Q, but hello. And so I am the moderator for this conversation, or the co-moderator, actually. And I'm going to tell you a bit why I'm here. So this concept of homelessness is very much not a concept to me. It's not abstract. It's a lived experience. And so I'm going to get personal with you, and I hope that we can be personal with each other. Hopefully this will be a space where we can be vulnerable together. My mother, for as long as I had known her, has been homeless. And I'm probably going to cry. And as a young child, I was a part of that journey with her. And so as early as I can remember, I think in first and second grade, we could no longer live in our apartment. And we ended up living in a car, not our own car, just a car, in someone's backyard. And we bathed from a bucket, and me and my sisters, we went to school. I'm just going to put it out there as that. And so I feel it's important to understand for myself what that feels like in my body now as a grown man in my 40s. Though that happened decades ago, it still is resonant here for me. She is still homeless. As far as I know, she is in and out of the carceral system. At this current moment, she is there. And I wonder, what would it be like? What would my life be like? What would her life be like if there were systems that supported her well-being? If her not having a home was not the catalyst for her life becoming the way that it is. I wonder if community had extra to support her and to support us in ways that we felt that we had need at that time. We weren't sure where to reach, where to go, where to look. Our family did not have the space and the capacity to help us in the ways that we needed. And so for me, that is like very crucial to understand that there are many stories, there are many families, there are many people that are going through this, and the systems are not really in place to support our well-being, our collective well-being. And so to get further into this conversation, I'd like to call in my partner in crime for this event, my co-moderator, Gabriel.
Check. All right, here I am. Hello, everyone. My name is Gabriel Gutierrez. I am former foster youth, adoptee. I run an ARCspace for foster and adoptee programming. I've been doing that since 2013. I also am very close to, houselessness. And I'm here to kind of co-moderate, right? Here to co-moderate, here to bring the energy up. So first, before that, right, I just want to talk a little bit about the conversation that we will be having today. It'll be about, give and take from the audience. We will be using terms like homelessness. We will be using terms like houselessness. We will be using terms like transient, right? And context is important. So the way that we all have had an experience, right, with someone that was impacted, if ourselves were impacted, all of that is important. All of that is valid up in this space, right? And it's all about the intention in what we are all trying to do, which is more of this, right? More affordability, more conversation, more community-centered solutions. So with that said, just want to do a quick call and response. When I say home, you say LA. Cuando yo digo home, ustedes dicen LA. All right, can we do that? All right, home. LA. Home. LA. Home. LA. That's what we're here to do. Create a home. All right, I'm passing it back to my brother Bernard.
Home, LA. I love that.
Yeah.
LA is my hometown and I love it dearly. And so in the line of James Baldwin, I can question this city and its policies because I love it so much. I love the people inside of this city. And so that leads me to this big question. What is empathy? It can, for me, be this very lofty thing that's out here, but ultimately is how I see myself in other people. It's when I try to divorce myself from other people that I don't have empathy, that I don't care, when I'm full of self, right? So if I open my eyes and try to make a connection, community with my people, even across virtual space, there's this kindredness, this connectedness where we can care for each other, this choreography of care, right? Using our bodies to care for each other. Our bodies are in crisis, right? So this idea of empathy can soothe and become a balm for us. I don't want to stay in my own definition of empathy for too long. I'd like to actually hear from our conversationalists because they are the folks of the hour. We want to hear how you all embody empathy and how we can use that as a catalyst for our own change, our collective liberation, our collective well-being. So if we can start with Corazon.
Yeah, give it up, give it up, give it up.
So Corazon, if you can tell us your name, obviously we know what it is right now because I just said it. Your profession, I'm sure they've already heard a bit about it. You can go deeper into that.
Okay.
Also your relationship with houselessness and homelessness and all of that.
Okay. I said a little bit about it earlier. My name's Corazon del Sol. I'm an artist. And I kind of shy away from the term activist because to me it's just being human. And I've grown up with a lot of precariousness my whole life. And so it was just the way that you take care of you and the people you love, and there was I don't see a separation between me and anybody else. I really, really deeply believe that we're one organism, the entire planet, all people, everything, and our health is intertwined profoundly. And I think it's an interesting time to be alive because we're starting to remember that. You know, we've had thousands of years of violence that made us forget it and deformed so much of the world, but we're remembering, and it's a really beautiful time to get to participate and be part of the remembering. And I'm so grateful for everybody here, and it's like a dream come true. And this was a dream. I said earlier, it was a dream on a napkin or on a piece of paper that, about a year and a half ago, and now it's happening. And it's also, I don't know how it's gonna happen. I don't have a plan forward. I just really deeply believe, I have a lot of faith that it's gonna happen the way it has to happen, and we're just gonna keep doing it through the community and people that we love, and that's how it's gonna happen. So,
Yes.
So let's move on down the line. Thank you so much, Corazon. I see you.
So my name is Pastor Q. I pastor the church without walls in Skid Row, also part of Clergy for Black Lives and part of Black Lives Matter Los Angeles. I also work with an organization called CLU, Clergy and Laity United for Economic Justice. I've been the pastor of the church without walls in Skid Row for the past 15 years. And so my relationship to houselessness is being the pastor of the church without walls for 15 years in the houseless capital of America, where we coined the term houselessness. We stopped saying homelessness because a lot of times people in Skid Row have a community, they have a home, they have people that love them. And so because of that, we don't say homelessness, we say houselessness. And so I have personal experience with being homeless. When I was a kid, I didn't meet my mom until my mom left when I was like 1.5, and I didn't meet her again until I was 9. And I met my father twice in my lifetime for about 5 minutes and then half a day. So there's a lot that I can go into, but I'll just leave it at that.
My dad was a migrant worker for over 50 years, so he would kind of follow the crops, and he would mainly pick strawberries. But I've been thinking about how this sense of migration and him being an immigrant also from the Philippines, like constantly searching for a home. I feel like that's my mission. I'm just like constantly like, where do I belong? Do I belong here? But as a child of an immigrant, as a child of within a migrant family, my creative practice is focused on finding home. And coincidentally, as I'm a part of this project, I'm kind of in between homes right now, which seems like a really great idea for inspiration for this project, but I've been feeling really destabilized, and I'm realizing like, oh, I don't have roots, I don't have foundation. So that's where the empathy comes from for me. It's like, okay, if I want to be a strong person in this community, I need to make sure that the protocol of care is I establish a foundation. Not having a home will make you feel destabilized. And we need to create more stable foundations. I was talking about that with the spine. Like if we can feel like our spine is healthy and supported, we can have a foundation, we can have a home.
That's what we're here to do. We're here to create home, right? We're here to create understanding. We're here to be here for each other. I believe in the energy of the space, right? We were blessed with the hawk earlier that came by, a good omen. We're here blessed with everyone involved in the conversation from different experience levels, right?
I'm going to change my language. Thank you, Pastor Q. Houseless, right? Not homeless. So I know that I have grown up with a person that was houseless in my family, my mother, which in turn resulted in me being houseless for a while. How, if that has affected you, how has that in turn affected your idea of empathy? Like how has that over time progressed and deepened as part of who you are as an adult moving in this world?
I think part of the thing that really had a big impact on me, my dad was Yaqui and Mayo from northern Mexico. And also they were farm workers. They came up as farm workers. And my dad comes from a lineage of shamans. And, you know, I really think a lot about domestication. You know, they weren't domesticated for that long when they got here. And my dad didn't know how to take in that shamanic still frame of mind. He couldn't cut himself up into the pieces you have to cut yourself up in to be able to fit in this messed up world. And that's what I would always, you know, his eyes were open too wide. He saw things too deeply. He was too sensitive to be able to deform himself to make this work. And I think that was so much of the foundation of how I see everything. You know, I think that that's all of us. So I think that story is a big impact on me. And he's passed away. His name was Rogelio Alcorcha. But yeah, shout out.
Yes, shout out.
Yeah, I think growing up without a father, right, had a huge impact on me, on how I feel, how I internalize emotion as it relates to what's happening to me and also what's happening to folks that I don't know. So as a man of faith, I resonate with the scripture where it says that God wanted to actually, and I'm not quoting, I'm paraphrasing, and I'm interpreting the text from liberation theology and abolition theology, if I may. Right, I didn't come to preach, but I'm gonna do it a little bit.
You may.
And so, when I think about empathy, I think about the fact in my faith tradition that it says that God became a human being because it was impossible for God to feel empathy for humanity unless God was human. I wish I could preach. And so God became a human being in order for us to know that there was a guarantee that he would feel empathy for us, because now he's gone through the exact same things that we've gone through. He understands struggle. From his God position, he couldn't do it because he was spirit and he was not human. So If we believe that that we were created in the image of God, then God said, I'm gonna make myself my image so I can feel the way you feel. And so for me, it is very important that we break down all the systems and abolish the systems that are devoid of empathy.
That's right, Pastor.
This question for me is really emotional. One, because my brother, Albert, who was locked in a cage, incarcerated for the majority of my life. And if he wasn't, he was living in my house at my childhood home in Santa Barbara County. And if not, he was in the streets. So, and often he would end up being in the streets because my family would kick him out of our house. Just because there was substance abuse. And so the empathy that I'm building over the past 6 months since my brother passed away is on March 11th, I got a phone call saying that we think your brother Albert is dead. We need you to identify his body. And I was like, I am not strong enough to do that. And so I didn't. I sent them a picture. He had a tattoo, and then they identified it that way. But it was a cold. It actually hailed the night before. I just kept thinking I was actually at Union Station that day. And I was thinking, like, what if I passed him? He actually doesn't live in L.A. I think he was probably at the men's county jail and got out and didn't have anywhere to go. So I was thinking about proximity, and I'm like, why was he here in L.A.? What if I saw him? Could I have brought him in? Would I have wanted to bring him in, during the height of COVID? And also, with all these things, like all the traumas of my childhood started to come up, and making this dance, being in this community, I'm feeling like I'm slowly starting to reconcile, to forgive him and to forgive myself. And I feel like it's going to be a long journey for me. I still feel like I could have saved him, and I know that I shouldn't hold on to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you, panelists, right? We have lost individuals, right? We have lost close people to us. We've seen the impact of COVID. And just like what is happening right now, right? There's all this grief that happens, right? And there's no single way to get out of that grief, especially if you're experiencing that. And that's okay, right? We are here to say that is all right. The grief comes in waves. The recovery comes in waves. The growth comes in waves. The empathy can stay always, right? So we are here together. And I just want to spread that love to all of us, all right? Spread all that love.
Jay, my heart is with you. I think about these moments as well. So my mom would be around my grandma's neighborhood. I lived with my grandma subsequently. She took me and my sisters in. And I would have a lot of shame if I saw my mom. She'd call my name from across the street, Bernard, Bernard. And I'm young and I don't understand what's happening. And I have this shame, oh, please, I don't want to be connected to you, right? And so over time, I get to work through all of that stuff. I don't know if I ever will fully reconcile that part of my youth with her, but I know now that she was doing the best that she could with what she had. And as Pastor Q was talking about, these systems don't really support us in those ways to move through life with love and support. Domestication, as Corazon was talking about, it feels fleeting at times, right? Because the systems don't really accommodate us settling in. And so I think about why now? Why are we having this conversation? Why is this important? I have my own ideas, but I'd love to hear from you all, and you can pass the mic as you need. Why do you think it's important for us to think about embodying empathy, practice that as something that could potentially be a solution to houselessness in this great capital of houselessness?
I believe unless our hearts are broken, right, oftentimes we don't move. And I think that is the constant thread in everyone's story, that your heart was broken. My heart was broken. So that is the fountain from which empathy begins to bubble, right? It comes out of that. But I think it's also important because these systems, usually when we think about houselessness, we think about it as it's something that came out of thin air, but it didn't come out of thin air, right? We know that during the second Great Migration, come on somebody, while African Americans were freed on paper during that second Great Migration, they were migrating, fleeing the KKK, by the way. Your history book will tell you they were trying to find jobs, so they moved west and north. But while they were doing that, and they were actually fleeing the KKK, and so they moved to California, and they even went down to Mexico, right? And they moved to the west, right? And so they moved into a place called South Central Los Angeles. And so during that same time, during World War II, we know the same system interned Japanese and put them into camps, right? And so because there was a housing crisis back then, because all of those people that were let out, they weren't given anything. They didn't give them any housing, nothing. They had to fend for themselves. They didn't give them 40 acres and a mule. And so they moved into South Central, and when the Japanese was sent into the internment camp by the same system, black folks began to migrate down into Little Tokyo. Well, we call this the Arts District, but Little Tokyo is right next door, and they migrated down here, and it became known as Bronzeville or Black Wall Street West, right? And we know when the Japanese came back, now the model minorities are back, right? So y'all got to get out, black folks. And so it is the same system destroying each and every ethnic group and destroying each and every group of people. It is the same system that is inflicting violence on us. So it is important for us to reach down in the deepest compartments of our hearts and find the empathy. If we don't have empathy, we can't destroy the systems.
Ooh, ooh. Someone say preach. Yes, yes.
I think COVID had a lot to do, not for me, but I think it made everyone realize that they're vulnerable, which is a blessing. Yes. That we're all vulnerable, we're all connected. And, I think we also understood that, I mean, I've known my whole life how extractive all of these different institutions are, but working on this housing thing is the first time I've ever really learned about housing deeply and just how do I make something like this happen. And one of the things that really I was kind of surprised, and I'm even surprised I was surprised, but I was surprised to see how corrupt the entire system is and how all those laws are written by developers. Yes. And when you look at what they're paying for, the $500,000 that they're paying for this homelessness HHH bond for each unit, which is crazy. Everyone's just making so much money because they own the system, because the health system, the housing system, every single institution in our lives, it's made just to extract as much as it can from us. And I think, again, one of the beautiful things that happen right now is that it's love consciousness is changing. Everyone's getting infected with love consciousness, and we're done.
Yes, give it up.
That love consciousness is kind of radiating, and in doing so, we're helping my brother get to heaven.
Yes, yes. I told you, third preacher, right here.
As you were saying before, COVID really blew the lid off this shit, right? Excuse my language, y'all. It blew the lid off of it. right? Because the people that usually have privilege now are like, oh, whoa, I'm losing my job. I'm losing my home. Oh, my people are dying, right? When this has been happening to some of us this whole time that we've been in this place here, right? Since the Europeans have come and like messed up what's happened, mixed it up is what I mean. And this idea of remembering who we are, I think is so important. And so if we all collectively remember, then we can get down to the thing. The thing is finding a place where we feel home. Home is where people care for you. Home is your community. It's not necessarily a structure, but that structure can be imbued and filled with this sense of love and home, right? We can create communities wherever we are. And I think that we can learn from the people that don't necessarily have these house structures, right? What community can really look like, standing up and being there for each other. And so I want to move forward and ask, I'll start with you, Jay, since you're talking about your artistic practice. As an artistic person, that often engages in movement in non-theatrical spaces, non-traditional performance spaces. Can you speak to your notion of the body as it seeks agency, right? As you're making these movements, these dances that is about heart and center and migration and movement, searching for home. Speak to this notion of agency in the body.
I think that dance is liberation, and I think it's a superpower, and that's why Christianity and Europeans and white folks have tried to police it for so many centuries, is because it can actually unlock, and it can, you're dancing at a concert or at the club. All social dance is spiritual, or so even if you're at the club, that's spiritual dancing. I feel like it's been policed, and because we can feel empathy when we're dancing with someone, when we're singing and we're dancing. Black and brown bodies and indigenous bodies have been singing and telling stories through their body because we're embodied people. That's how we gossip through song and dance, and that is preservation. And to me, my practice as a dancer, choreographer of social movements and community, I feel like is to just allow people to get into their bodies and seek or find liberation.
Yes. Thank you, Jay. Yes, we do have agency and power in our bodies, which is why they're often policed. Exactly, right? Let's separate these people. Let's take away the drum. Let's make that illegal so that these people can't communicate to each other, right? We find ways. There's no way to stop that magic, right? We are conjurers. We are liberators. We are doing this stuff incessantly. And now, I'm going to shift to Corazon. Can you speak more to your ideas around object making and architecture and how that is a source for building empathy?
Today was really emotional for me. It's the first public viewing of the house. It's been such a long, hard road to get this here. And people from LA Poverty Department started showing up. And it was just
shout out.
So beautiful. Lorraine, she came in. Everyone started coming in and they started being so emotional seeing this house. I mean, I think in a way I'd rather just hand the mic to one of them because
Lorraine,
that was so powerful.
Lorraine, all right.
When I came in this, I was just so. Well, let me back up just a little bit. I'm Lorraine, and the thing about it, we did our rehearsal in this parking lot. So this was not here. It was another container here. And when I'm on the bus, because I was homeless, let me back up to 8 years in a doorway. And when I came to this gate and saw this, I was so overwhelmed because when I'm on the bus,
I look for stuff like this. And I wish I had that place of my own, just where me and my dog and my turtle could just sit and enjoy. I say this because I was a PTA mother. I worked at Centinela Hospital. I had 4 beautiful children. And my husband brought drugs in the house, and it took my life away. They took my children away, too. I didn't know anything else about being without my babies. They was my life. I wanted to be a good wife. But I couldn't run to my mother because my mother and father didn't teach me to be the way I end up being. So I was ashamed. So when they took my children, I ended up coming down on Skid Row at 611, 5th Street, I believe, somewhere, or 6 maybe. I had never been downtown homeless. I only came down here to go Christmas shopping with my parents. But I seen another part of this downtown. But I almost got killed, too, because I was pretty neat, and the guys thought that I was just supposed to give up my body. And I had to fight for my life. So I figured if I'm going to scream, I'm going to stay outside. So that's how I end up in the doorway for 8 years, because I wouldn't go to any shelters. I wouldn't go anywhere. There was no help for me down on Skid Row in the 80s at all. They take you, put your name, and get paid for you, and that's about it. But anything else than that, it just wasn't happening. And I don't want to continue to talk, but I want to put some points out here that I don't believe that anyone should be without a home. See, the system, okay, you start on the system, but they got a big old gap. Where you think you go in that gap? If you don't know how to swim, you're going to drown. Unless you have people that understand, and that's what happened to me. A nun had to save me. She saw me under my doorway and said, come from under there. But I was afraid to go to the shelter. So she just kept coming out, though, giving me cookies. And I didn't even drink coffee, but she gave me coffee and a boiled egg. She saw what kind of clothes I wear, because I still like to dress pretty neat. I had particular things, you know. And she would try to win my trust. She didn't just judge me as being a woman under that bench or in the street. I never knew anything about being on the street eating out of trash cans. I could have went home, but I didn't want to steal nothing from my mother and my father because I know they worked so hard. And I didn't want anyone knocking at their door talking about your daughter owed me some money. I couldn't do that to my parents, so I had to do it hard. But all my life, all my dream, being in that cool doorway was something beautiful. I had beautiful things before, but I lost everything. But for people that don't have, this would be Beverly Hills. This would be amazing. But most of all, it would be a blessing.
Yes. Yes, Lord.
And everything that we have is a blessing. And I want to say to this young man here, I lost 2 sons on the streets of Los Angeles by gun violence. But I could have lost my life. I was in line so many times. So many times. I could have lost my life out there on those streets. But God didn't call me home. He said my job wasn't done. So your brother, take the memories that you have, do the right things in life, because I know that he taught you a lot. And you have a lot of memories of your brother. But you got to remember he was tired, and the Lord called his child home. And he is now safe and secure in our loving Father's arms. And all you have to do is live your life to the fullest until God call you home. Okay? God bless you. 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 Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Give it up for Lorraine. Give it up for Lorraine. Thank you. Panelists, if you want to share anything.
I'll just say I want to, again, a big thank you to everybody. So many people have put their time and effort into this. So I just want to thank everybody for coming together. Mara for giving her space. Chloe for making this happen. She wrote a grant for all this to happen. She's paying everybody. All the people who've been working and helping. For Robert, the electrician, made this light up.
Yeah.
Alex, who put all his money and time and effort on the line to make this happen. And just everybody. And I just want to really thank everybody and say the way that we're going to do this is to push our politicians to make these solutions happen.
Pastor Q, preach us out. Preach us out.
Gracious God, I pray that you would, first of all, hold your people close, squeeze your people. I pray that you would go with us, beside us, to walk with us and talk with us, beneath us to propel us forward, above us to cover us, in front of us to lead us, and behind us to watch our backs, because we know we got haters. Amen.
Amen, amen.
Hey, everybody. So thank you for coming, and we got some music happening. Los Cubanos are happening.
Cubano Percussion, come through. We're about to do a celebration now, a little party
give us a little
time.
dancing, little energy. Thanks for coming, guys.
Time to
This is
celebrate.
just the
Thank you
start
all.
of a great
Thank you all for
conversation.
coming.
Cheers.
Hi, everybody. My name is William. I'm the director of the group right here. We all Cuban. We come in 1980. We try to perform right here to bring the community a little Cuban music religious. So we're going to sing in religious music. Rápido, pero bueno. Vele, 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 vele. Me la llevo. Vele, vele. Aunque tú me has echado en el abandono, aunque ya se han muerto todas mis ilusiones, en vez de maldecirte con justo y con no, en mis sueños de colmo, en mis sueños de colmo, de bendiciones, sufro la inmensa pena de tu extravío. Y siento el dolor profundo de tu partida. Y lloro sin que sepa el llanto mío. Va muy rápido. Tiene lágrimas negras. Tiene lágrimas negras como mi vida. Tú me quieres dejar. Yo no quiero sufrir, contigo me voy mi santa, aunque me cueste morir boca. Tú me quieres dejar, yo no quiero sufrir, contigo me voy mi santa, aunque me cueste morir. Un jardinero de amor, siembra una rosa y se va. William viene y la cultiva, de cuando el oro será boa. Tú me quieres dejar, yo no quiero sufrir, Contigo me voy, mi santa, aunque me cueste morir. Ah, 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 ah,
Oye, Hila. Que salga un guapo. Oye, 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 oye. Oye, que salga un guapo. Oye, que me la toque. Oye, que salga un guapo. Que me la toque. Oye, que salga un guapo. Que me la toque. 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 Un guapo. Que me la toque. Un guapo. Que me la toque.
Vamos a pasarlo ahora.
Que hubo la conga ahora.
Vamos a hacer un poco más. Bueno, dale, mano.
Que viene la conga.
Todavía no. Los palitos sí, porque ahora viene vamos a cantar palo.
Coge la conga, Cere, coge la conga ahí.
La conga.
Now we're going to play a rhythm. Nay conga. Wait a minute, right? Yeah. But I want everybody to participate. Okay? And it's going to be easy, real easy. The steps like that. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Espérate. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Now we're gonna close it.
All right. Hey. Oh, sorry.
See? 1, 2, 3. Hey. 1, 2, 3. Hey. 1, 2. A little jump. Hey. Little faster now. Vamos. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now we're gonna do it with music. Yo sigo con la clave. We're going to do it with music now. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3. No te apures, no te apures, bombo, no te apures. Hey. Now we're gonna do a half a turn. We're gonna be like that. Okay? Okay? Watch me. See? Now we're gonna do both sides. Now this side and this side. I want everybody to say, uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. Wait a minute. Uh-huh, uh-huh. No, uh-huh. Piti-piti, 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 everybody. Uh-huh, uh-huh, everybody. Uh-huh, uh-huh, piti-piti, 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 piti-piti,
Habana, La Habana, que prenda La Habana, oh La Habana, oh La Habana. Oh La Habana, oh. Yo quiero mi Habana, yo quiero mi Habana. Oh, qué linda mi Habana, qué linda mi Habana. Oh, no, qué linda mi Habana, qué linda mi Habana. Oh La Habana, oh La Habana. Qué linda mi Habana. Espérate. Oh La Habana, oh La Habana. Oh, La Habana, oh, come on, mira, atrás de mí. Oh, La Habana, oh, La Habana. Oh, La Habana, oh, La Habana. Hey, come on, get in there. Oh, La Habana, oh, La Habana. Oh, La Habana, oh, La Habana. Oh, La Habana, oh, La Habana. Quiero mi Habana, linda La Habana. Oh, La Habana, oh, 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 La Oh, La Habana, oh, La Habana. Oh, La Habana, oh, La Habana. Abre que viene el cocuyé. El cocuyé. Abre que viene 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 el cocuyé. ¿Cómo? Abre que viene el cocuyé. 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 Ah, guapacha. 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 Vele, 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 vele. Vele, 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 va. Vele, 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 vele. Vele, 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 vele. Ah, guapacha. Ah, guapacha. Ah, guapacha. Ah, guapacha. Vele, 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 vele. Vele, 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 va. Vele, 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 vele. Vele, 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 vele. Ah, guapacha. Ah, guapacha. Ah, guapacha, oye, ah, guapacha. Vele, 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 va. Vele, 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 vele.